Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make strawberry preserves or strawberry jam or even strawberry glaze. It can be used for the same thing, just depending on what you add to it. So before we get started, a few things you need: your strawberries, some pectin, some lemon juice, and sugar, and your canning jars. So let's get started. Alright, so what you're going to need is strawberries. These are fresh strawberries that came out of my garden. You want to make sure that you cut the leaves off the strawberries and then just sort of cut them up like so. The bigger the batch you work with, the bigger the bowl you're going to need. Next, you're going to use your little potato masher or food processor, and you're going to mash your strawberries up. If you want to make a strawberry glaze, I recommend using a food processor. It'll make it more liquidy. Because I'm making a strawberry jelly, I'm going to leave some chunks of strawberries in the mix. Not super big chunks, but enough till you can see the strawberries and taste it. And also remember that you're going to be cooking these down some, so the strawberries will get softer. So you don't want your chunks to be too mushed down inside your bowl. There. See? Left some chunks in there. Next, I'm going to squeeze some lemon juice on there. Depending on how many strawberries you're going to be using, you're probably going to use up to a tablespoon of lemon juice. Not too much lemon juice, okay? And next, we're going to pour this into our pot so it'll go on the stove. This is going to go on medium heat. While you're doing this, you should be sterilizing your canning jars. Sterilizing them simply means to boil the jars and the lids for about 10 minutes on rapid boil to sterilize your canning jars. These are my canning jars and lid in here. As you see, they are being sterilized. I have it on high heat. It's going to take a minute to heat up and boil, but once the water starts going on to a rapid boil, it's going to be rapidly boiling for about 10 minutes. Here we have our strawberries in the pot on the stove on between medium and medium high heat. Once you have your strawberries on the stove and it's just now getting warm, you want to add your sugar. The amount of strawberries and the sweetness of your strawberries will depend on how much sugar you're going to add. If you have strawberries that's not all that sweet, you want to add extra sugar. And it also depends on how many strawberries you're working with. Rule of thumb is to start with a cup of sugar and then sort of just taste it to see if it's as sweet as you want it. Make sure you dissolve your sugar in there, which is going to dissolve as it heats up. And if you have any chunky bits of strawberries in there, Using a metal pot would be best. That way you can go in and sort of press down any of them that you see that are too chunky. And you want to do this before your pot or strawberries get too hot to handle, or the steam start rising in your face. Now we're just going to let this cook down. Now what's going to happen is, as it cooks and starts to boil, it's going to get a pink froth on it. Once it starts getting that pink froth, you want to remove that pink froth. Now when you're making your strawberry preserves, make sure you're constantly stirring it. And then once the pink froth form on it, you want to remove this pink froth. So make sure you just have a towel handy and start taking that froth off of there. Even if you catch a few small strawberries in there, don't go trying to pick them out. The froth will be hot, but this froth needs to be removed. Very important that you remove it. Make sure you're removing as much of it as you can. Scrape the sides, getting that froth off of there. Once you removed it, stir it again just to see if any more of it form. And if you see any more forming, make sure you wipe it off. Take it out of there, wipe it off on a towel, wipe your spoon off. Once you have all that froth removed, at this point, you can go ahead and pour them into your hot jars as a glaze. Just remember, if you're making a glaze, you want to use a food processor so that the strawberries aren't as chunky but more of a liquid, because glaze is meant to be pouring. If you're making a jelly or strawberry preserve, this is the point where you want to add your thickener, your fruit pectin. Just make sure you're removing all that froth off of there before you add your pectin. Also, remember that this is hot liquid, hot fruit, and hot fruit needs to go into hot canning jars. Best thing to do is, once you have your canning jars and they're processed, you're going to leave them in the hot water just to let them sit. And right before you place them, your fruit, your preserves into these hot jars, you want to place them on a clean, dry towel upside down to trap the heat on the inside of them. Now that I have all this froth off of here, I'm going to add my thickener. And then after I add my thickener and stir, I am going to cut this heat off. Thickener is in there and dissolved. Now I'm going to turn the heat off. And at this point, this is where I am going to transfer the preserves over into the preserved liquid over into my canning jars. Once you have your preserve in your canning jars, be sure to wipe the tops of them really well. And please make sure that your flat tops are dry before adding them onto your jars. And these are all set to go in our hot bath. A hot bath is simply hot water that's in a pot. You do not need a pressure cooker to do this. A stock pot with a lid is fine. So this is going to go into our hot bath. This is our hot bath, medium high heat. For 15 minutes with the lid on. Quick little side note, guys, I am hatching chickens. See, this is my chicken hatcher, and there actually are chicks inside these eggs, and I can actually see them moving around in there and their little heartbeat with my little egg handler. This light is super bright so you can actually see into the eggs. Yes, yes, I'm hatching my own eggs. Yay, my own chicks. Yay. Once your preserves have been processing between 10 and 15 minutes, you can go ahead and take them out. Make sure you remove the water off the lids. It only takes between 10 and 15 minutes to process these, depending on how hot your hot bath was. If your water was very hot to the touch before you even put it in your hot bath, it should only take about 10 minutes. If it was just warm but you can still kind of stick your finger in there, then it'll take about 15 minutes to process. Once you take them out, you're just going to let them pop on their own. And by pop, I mean that once the jars cool off, you'll hear your jars pop, which means the lids are sealing. Now, technically, your strawberries are actually already done. It's just a matter of sealing your lids. That's why I go through the processing my jars to make sure that they seal. Now, you don't have to do this. Actually, once you put your preserves in the hot jars and put your hot preserves in the jars, you can place your lid on top and your seal and turn it upside down and let it process that way. Unfortunately, you won't hear it pop, but if you touch the top of this and it makes this sound, it's not sealed. Okay? If you touch it and you don't hear that sound, that means that they are sealed. This one is actually already sealed. All right? This has been Christina, Christine's Awesome Things. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you have any questions, write your question in the comment section, and I will definitely answer any questions you have.